Workers at various centres nationwide have gathered for the Cosatu Day of Action. The Labour Union Federation has called on workers to take to the streets in a bid to highlight some of the country's socio-economic issues. SABC News reporter Nonhlakanipho Magwaza is tracking the Cosatu March in Durban and joins us live. A very good afternoon, Nonhlakanipho. Just take me through what's happening in Durban.
Good afternoon. As you can see behind me, unions affiliated to Cosatu are currently marching down West Street, what is known as Pixligaseme Street. They are going to the Durban City Hall to hand in their memorandum pertaining their grievances that the inflation rate is too high. When we were speaking to workers earlier on, they were saying that the inflation rate is so high that their salaries cannot keep up with the inflation rates, and they are struggling to make a living or to afford a living out on the streets. And another thing that workers are complaining about is the privatization of the SOEs, government SOEs. With me now is Ubabushezi, who is a union for Transnet, who will tell us more about what exactly is the workers' grievances pertaining to Transnet. Babushezi, we're marching here today, and workers are saying that with the inflation rates, they cannot keep up with the cost of living. What are the workers that you are supporting are saying?
Look, first and foremost, I must start by saying I am Shezi, who's coming from Satao, which is affiliated at Cosatu. One thing for sure that we came here to give a sign to the current leadership of Transnet, which is very arrogant, which is implementing a privatization without even having a slight chance of consulting the employees. We are here, most of the employees, that about more than 3,000 employees are in limbo, not knowing for their future as they speak. They are driving their mandate to bring a private sector, which is profit-driven, which does not care about the well-being of employees. Right now, as we speak, Ukocha Depa was addressing the business forum, telling them that at Pier 2, they are done with Pier 2. The only thing that is left is to tell the employees, which shows very clear that this employer that we have right now does not care about the living of the employee. As we speak, the inflation rate is high. So if they try to bring the private sector, they know that their mandate is only profit, not about the living of the employees. We have to tell them that we are prepared to fight, that we are still going to fight. This is a sign that we are not scared to fight. We'll fight, even if it costs us to lose our blood, we'll do so, provided we are going to win this battle. But we are not prepared to lose this battle. We are going to fight till the end.
That was Babushezi, affiliated with Cosatu. And with me again is Ubabusokela, who is with the United Nations Transport Union, who's also joined the protest or the march to also voice out their grievances for their members. Babusokela, earlier on we were speaking to workers. They said that they believe that the government is selling them to the private companies. What is your say to that?
Well, this started at ESCOM, and as unions within SOEs, we were silent about it. Now the back is at our doorstep, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult because the real issues of Transnet are ignored. But then we find friends sharing the stake of Transnet to enrich themselves. So therefore, we as UNTU, we are against this privatization. We are against the job losses that are imminent. And given the arrogance of Transnet, and I would even go as far as saying this leadership do not care about this country and do not care about our region. Not so long ago, our threat was Mozambique, a country that was in a civil war. And our management came up and said, no, we are not doing well because our threat is Mozambique. But then they are not talking about the congestion of Durban ports, the aging infrastructure, which is the establishment of apartheid. Nothing has been done to correct that, to make sure that the movement of consignment is as quickly as possible. So we are privatization.
That was Babu Sokela speaking about the privatization of Eskom, saying that the privatization will mean more job losses to the people and will increase the already high unemployment rates. Back to you in studio.
Thanks, Nonhlakanipho. Let's now stay with the story and go to Johannesburg, though, where SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi is tracking the march in Johannesburg. He joins us live. Very good afternoon, Katlego. Over to you.
A very good afternoon to you, Nzinga, and to our viewers at home. Of course, Braamfontein is a hive of activity this afternoon where this Cosatu National Day of Action is concerned. We are marching as we speak right now on the Court Street, and this is where we're actually approaching the Labour Department here in Braamfontein, where a memorandum of demands, the second memorandum of demands, will be more or less delivered this afternoon. Earlier on, the march starting from Cosatu House, moving through Braamfontein to Bram Park, and this is where we find SALGA, and we also find the Human Rights Commission. A memorandum of demand was submitted there at those or at that kind of environment or at that venue, and we're now moving to the Labour Department, and from here we'll be going to the Premier's office in the Johannesburg CBD, where a memorandum of demand will also be handed over there. I'm going to bring into the conversation now Nzinga, the Deputy Chairperson here in Gauteng of Cosatu, this being Thabang, who just let us in on that memorandum of demand. One directed to SALGA, the other one directed to the Human Rights Commission. Just let us in on the content of those memorandums and really what you're calling for as the workers today.
Okay, thank you very much. I think on the one of the SALGA, it was mainly also to talk to them about our dissatisfaction about the Municipal Systems Amendment Act that prevents all workers to can participate in political activities or be elected also in their branches somewhere to can hold positions there. That's number one. But number two, that you will remember that even here in Gauteng we're having a lot of instability in terms of municipalities, and that also affects our members, and each and everyone that comes, they come and want to be creative, and in the process they deal with the basic conditions of our members there in the municipalities. You will also remember that there are also municipalities where workers' salaries would have been threatened, and others where they would not be paid their salaries or be paid not enough salaries themselves. So we were there to call order onto that, to say that actually our members must be paid and they must have certainty in their workplace and their security and the security of jobs. But most importantly, the members, the citizens and the communities here, they are tired of this service delivery that is not reliable. You will remember that we just have gaps as a result of scarcity of water in Tswana. You would remember that there's a lot of protests that even sometimes they turn violent against the citizens, but it's mainly because of the desperation that our people, they want services, and these services they can't get them because the municipalities, they've concentrated on political friendships and they've taken their responsibilities to be at the back seat. So that's the part that we were taking to the SALGA, but we meant to also talk to the Human Rights Commission, and unfortunately that we're not going to, we did not deliver our memorandum. We're going to deliver it with them where we are going, because they said they are waiting for us where we are going. But also we want them to come and investigate human rights violations, particularly in terms of water.
Let us in then on, if I can come in there, Thabang, on the more or less the time frame that you're giving these offices to try by all means to respond to those demands. The SALGA, Human Rights Commission, the Premier's office, where we're heading to right now. Do you have a time frame?
Yes, we've got 14 days for all of them, but mainly in the Premier's office, where then there's many other national departments that are supposed to come there and receive the memorandum from them.
All right, Thabang, thank you very much for your time. Of course, just delivering that memorandum of demands there at the Human Rights Commission and at SALGA, just calling for changes within municipalities. And of course also in Nzinga, you can remember that the Auditor General has also raised issues with the municipalities that have over time really not find audits that are really, really positive positive in this regard. But we're seeing Stalga here saying that they're giving these departments around 14 days for them to respond to some of these concerns that have been raised here today in Zinga.
Katlego Legodi, thanks for that update for us from Braamfontein there.